Secretly is genuinely the wrong word entirely. Nothing on tonight's list is hidden, and no mechanic is smuggling these tires home under a jacket. What's actually true is that these 10 brands consistently outperform their own reputations in independent testing while selling for meaningfully less than the premium names most buyers instinctively reach for. And people who work on cars every single day know this because they see the results in their own bays. Here's the number that frames everything tonight. Consumer Reports tested 129 tire models from 30 different brands for its 2026 rankings, evaluating braking on dry pavement, braking on wet pavement, handling, hydroplaning resistance, snow traction, ice braking, ride comfort, noise, and rolling resistance. They also drove those tires thousands of miles on a road course in West Texas, specifically to predict real tread life rather than trusting a manufacturer's warranty claim. The results genuinely contradict most common assumptions. Kumho ranked higher than Goodyear in that 2026 brand ranking. Vredestein landed third overall ahead of Goodyear, Bridgestone, and Pirelli, and independent testing found the performance gap between premium and mid-tier brands has narrowed considerably, with several value brands delivering roughly 90 to 95% of premium performance at 60 to 70% of the price. One critical warning belongs right up top. Cheap does not automatically mean good, and the same 2026 European testing that validated several value brands also flagged multiple Linglong models for dangerously long wet braking distances, with one budget model earning what amounted to a failing grade. This video is about specific brands with documented testing behind them, not about buying whatever costs least. Testing methodology genuinely deserves a brief explanation. Consumer Reports purchases, installs, and evaluates roughly 800 tires every 12 months across more than 40 models, testing ice braking at an actual skating rink to ensure consistent conditions, and using an independent outside lab to assess rolling resistance separately. That treadwear testing is genuinely quite rigorous. Vehicles run 8,000 to 16,000 real-world miles on public roads in West Texas specifically to predict tread life, which produces meaningfully more reliable data than a manufacturer's own warranty claim ever could on its own. European testing adds another fully independent layer. The 2026 ADAC Summer Reifen Test, conducted jointly with Austria's OAMTC and Switzerland's TCS, evaluates tires across 18 individual criteria and is widely regarded as the gold standard methodology in the entire tire testing world. Let's go through all 10 brands now. Each one appears because independent testing supports it, each one costs meaningfully less than the premium tier, and each one has specific strengths and specific weaknesses worth understanding before you buy anything. Number 10. Laufen. Laufen is Hankook's own budget sub-brand. That relationship matters enormously because it means these tires come out of the same corporate engineering organization and the same manufacturing infrastructure that produces Hankook's mainstream lineup, just positioned at a lower price point with somewhat less advanced compounds and tread designs. Buyers routinely overlook this particular brand entirely. The name carries essentially zero recognition with American consumers, which is precisely why the pricing stays aggressive. And mechanics who understand the Hankook connection frequently recommend these to customers specifically looking for the cheapest, genuinely safe option available. The trade-off is real and worth naming. Laufen tires generally trail their Hankook counterparts in wet braking and tread life, meaning you're getting legitimate engineering at a genuine discount rather than premium performance at a bargain price, a distinction that matters most for drivers logging serious highway miles annually. Sub-brands exist for specific business reasons. Manufacturers use them to compete on price without damaging the reputation of their flagship nameplate, which means a sub-brand tire genuinely benefits from the parent company's manufacturing standards and quality control while being engineered to hit a lower cost target deliberately. Number 9. Sumitomo. Sumitomo occupies a genuinely strange market position. The company is actually Sumitomo Rubber Industries, the same corporate parent that owns both Falcon and Dunlop, meaning this budget-positioned brand shares engineering resources with two considerably better-known nameplates that sell for noticeably more money. Consumer Reports ranked it inside a tie. Sumitomo landed alongside Nexen and Firestone in the 2026 brand rankings, ahead of several brands most American buyers would instinctively rank higher, which tells you something meaningful about how reputation and actual measured performance drift apart over time. The tires themselves perform genuinely quite respectably. Testing shows solid all-around competence without any single standout category, exactly the profile a shop recommends to a customer who drives normally, doesn't chase performance, and simply wants tires that work properly for a reasonable price without drama. 4. Sumitomo models appeared in recent testing. That sample size is genuinely meaningful for a brand this quiet in American markets, and consistency across multiple products separates a legitimately competent manufacturer from one that simply built a single decent tire and stopped there. Number 8. Nexen. Nexen is South Korean and consistently underestimated. The brand tied with Sumitomo and Firestone in Consumer Reports 2026 rankings, and Firestone specifically is a name most American buyers assume sits well above a brand they've possibly never heard of at all. 6 Nexen models appeared in testing recently. That's a meaningful sample size rather than a single lucky product, and the consistency across multiple models is precisely what separates a genuinely competent budget brand from one that happened to build one good tire and a lineup of forgettable ones around it. Original equipment contracts genuinely validate a manufacturer. Nexen supplies tires as factory equipment to several major automakers, and passing an automaker's own engineering validation process represents a meaningful quality signal, independent of any consumer testing organization's separate evaluation. Pricing runs aggressively low across the lineup. Nexen frequently undercuts better-known competitors by a substantial margin on comparable sizes, and for a driver replacing 4 tires at once on a modest budget, that difference genuinely determines whether the job happens this month or gets postponed dangerously. Postponing tire replacement carries genuinely serious risk. Worn tires dramatically increase stopping distances on wet pavement and raise hydroplaning risk substantially, which means an affordable, competent tire installed today is meaningfully safer than a premium tire the driver keeps postponing until next payday arrives. The penny test still works genuinely well. Insert a penny into the tread with Lincoln's head pointing downward, and if you can see the top of his head, tread depth has dropped below 2/32 of an inch and replacement is genuinely overdue rather than merely approaching. Number 7. GT Radial. GT Radial rarely enters mainstream buying conversations. The brand is owned by Giti Tire, a substantial Singapore-based manufacturer, and 4 GT Radial models appeared in Consumer Reports' most recent testing pool, which itself signals the brand has enough American market presence to warrant independent evaluation. Shop owners frequently stock these for reasons. Availability tends to be strong, pricing cites genuinely low, and for customers driving older vehicles where spending premium money on tires makes little financial sense, a competent budget tire from an established manufacturer is genuinely the right recommendation. Vehicle value genuinely should influence tire spending. Putting $800 of premium tires on a vehicle worth $3,000 rarely makes financial sense, and matching tire investment to vehicle value is exactly the kind of practical reasoning shops apply constantly when advising real customers. Expectations need to stay appropriately calibrated here. These aren't performance tires, and they aren't going to deliver premium wet weather braking, but for moderate mileage drivers in temperate climates, they represent legitimate value rather than a dangerous compromise. Climate genuinely changes this entire recommendation, though. A driver in Arizona faces completely different tire demands than a driver in Michigan, and a budget tire that performs adequately in consistently dry conditions may prove genuinely inadequate once regular snow and ice enter the equation every winter. Number 6. Cooper. Cooper carries genuine American heritage people forget. Founded in Ohio over a century ago and now owned by Goodyear, the brand consistently delivers what independent reviewers describe as balanced value across passenger car, SUV, and light truck segments without ever commanding premium pricing. The Discoverer Rugged Trek earns specific mention. Independent aggregated owner data gives this all-terrain truck tire an overall score around 8.5, built on strong wet traction near 8.8 and tread wear around 8.6, with over 3.4 million reported owner miles backing those numbers up. Truck owners specifically benefit from this brand. Cooper's all-terrain lineup, particularly the Discover AT3 4S, gets repeatedly cited by independent reviewers as delivering strong all-terrain performance at meaningfully lower prices than BF Goodrich or Toyo equivalents, targeting the exact same buyer. Goodyear's ownership brings genuine engineering resources here. Cooper operates under Goodyear's corporate umbrella following that acquisition, which gives the brand access to research capability and manufacturing scale that a genuinely independent budget manufacturer simply could not match on its own. All-terrain tires carry inherent performance compromises. Aggressive tread patterns that work genuinely well off pavement typically produce more road noise and shorter highway tread life, which means the right all-terrain tire depends heavily on how much genuine off-road driving actually happens versus how much simply looks capable in a parking lot. Number 5. General Tire is quietly owned by Continental. That parent relationship gives General access to genuine engineering resources from a brand Consumer Reports ranked second overall in 2026 with a score of 69, and that engineering pedigree shows up consistently in General's own test results. 6 General models appeared in recent testing. Independent aggregated data shows the brand delivering consistent high 8 ratings across both touring and light truck categories, a consistency that matters considerably more than a single spectacular result on one product. Consistency genuinely matters more than peak performance. A brand delivering solid results across its entire lineup means a shopper can buy confidently in almost any size or category, while a brand with one brilliant product and several weak ones requires research most buyers never actually do. The Grabber ATX genuinely deserves particular attention. Independent reviewers specifically identify this all-terrain tire alongside Cooper's Discover AT3-4S as delivering strong value, all-terrain performance at prices well below the premium tier, making it a genuine recommendation for truck owners watching their budget carefully. Number 4. Falken punches genuinely above its price point. Consumer Reports ranked the brand 12th overall in 2026, sitting between Pirelli and the Nexen, Sumitomo, and Firestone tie, and 10 separate Falken models appeared in that testing round. The Wild Peak line specifically earns strong marks. Independent aggregated owner data puts Wild Peak tires above 8.8, and the brand's genuine strength concentrates in the SUV and truck segments rather than being spread evenly across every category it competes in. Pricing comparisons make the value case clearly. Where a Michelin Pilot Sport 4S runs roughly $242 per tire and a comparable Continental Extreme Contact Sports 02 runs about $200, the Falken Azenis FK01 delivers similar performance characteristics at a meaningfully lower price per corner. Multiply that difference across 4 corners, though, a $40 per tire savings becomes $160 across a complete set, which for many households genuinely represents the difference between replacing all 4 tires properly and replacing only the 2 worst ones, and hoping. Number 3. Kumho ranking above Goodyear genuinely surprised people. Consumer Reports' 2026 rankings place this South Korean brand ahead of Goodyear, which landed 7th between Hankook and Nokian, and that result got specifically flagged as a surprise by multiple publications covering the rankings. Independent value analysis ranks Kumho first outright. One aggregated rating system evaluating price against measured performance identified Kumho as delivering the most rating per dollar across a genuinely deep budget tier lineup, meaning the brand competes on value across many products rather than one standout. Lineup depth genuinely matters for practical shopping. A brand offering strong value across dozens of sizes and categories means a shopper is far more likely to actually find that value in their own specific tire size rather than discovering the one good product doesn't come in the size their vehicle needs. Kumho competes across genuinely every major category. Passenger touring, performance, all-season, light truck, and winter products all appear in the lineup at competitive pricing, which means a household running two very different vehicles can genuinely source both from the same value brand rather than compromising on one. 6 Kumho models appeared in recent testing. That's meaningful breadth, and combined with the brand ranking ahead of a household American name, it makes Kumho arguably the single strongest pure value recommendation available in the current market. South Korean manufacturers transformed genuinely quickly here. Kumho, Hankook, and Nexon all built serious engineering capability over the past 2 decades, while American consumer perception lagged well behind that reality, which is precisely the gap creating today's value opportunity for shoppers willing to look past familiar badges. Number 2. Hankook. Hankook sits 6th in Consumer Reports rankings. That places the South Korean brand ahead of Goodyear, and 8 separate Hankook models appeared in the 2026 testing pool, matching Michelin's own model count in that same evaluation round. The Kinergy XP deserves genuine attention here. Consumer Reports rated it in the same above-average range as the Michelin Defender 2, at roughly $180 per tire compared to the Michelin's higher price, saving around $80 across a full set while carrying a 75,000-mile warranty. Category scores tell an impressive story, too. The Kinergy XP earned high ratings in dry braking, wet braking, handling, hydroplaning, snow traction, noise, and rolling resistance. Receiving merely average marks only in ice braking and ride comfort, the exact same 2 categories where the Michelin also scored average. Hankook credits a newly redesigned compound specifically. The company attributes the Kinergy XP's measured improvements across nearly every performance area to a new rubber compound paired with a carefully redesigned tread pattern, and Consumer Reports' independent testing genuinely validated those claims, rather than simply repeating marketing language. Owner satisfaction runs notably lower here, though. Consumer Reports tracks satisfaction separately from measured performance, and Hankook scores considerably below Michelin there, a genuine gap worth understanding since satisfaction reflects how owners feel about their purchase rather than how the tire actually performed on a test track. That satisfaction gap has genuinely interesting causes. Buyers paying premium prices often report higher satisfaction partly because they expected excellence and received it, while budget buyers sometimes report lower satisfaction despite objectively good performance, simply because expectations and price anchoring shape perception more than most people acknowledge. Electric vehicle owners should note something specific. Independent analysis identifies Hankook's Ion Evo as leading the electric vehicle tire category, meaning this budget position brand actually builds the category leader in one of the fastest growing segments in the entire tire market. Electric vehicles genuinely demand different tire engineering. Heavier battery packs increase vehicle weight substantially, instant electric torque accelerates tread wear, and rolling resistance directly determines range, which means a tire optimized for electric vehicles solves genuinely different problems than a conventional all-season tire ever needed to. Tesla actually uses Hankook as factory equipment. The Ventus S1 AS with the T0 designation appears as original equipment on Tesla vehicles, and that T0 marking specifically indicates factory fitment, which represents a genuine engineering endorsement from a manufacturer with real alternatives available to choose from. Number 1. Vredestein. Vredestein is the genuine shock this year. This Dutch manufacturer, largely unknown to American buyers, ranked 3rd overall in Consumer Reports' brand rankings with a score of 68, placing it ahead of Goodyear, Bridgestone, and Pirelli, 3 names carrying vastly more recognition and vastly higher pricing. 7 separate Vredestein models earned official recommendations. That's not a single fluke result, that's a brand delivering consistently across a meaningful portion of its lineup. An independent value analysis specifically describes Vredestein as combining premium-grade scores with mid-range pricing across both cars and light trucks. Name recognition is doing all the work. Nothing about Vredestein's engineering justifies its obscurity in American markets, and the brand's low profile is precisely what keeps pricing reasonable while delivering measured performance that beats brand selling for substantially more money. Marketing budgets genuinely shape tire prices substantially. Every stadium sponsorship, television campaign, and racing program gets recovered through product pricing, which means a brand competing purely on engineering rather than visibility can genuinely deliver equivalent performance for meaningfully less money to the end buyer. Racing programs do produce genuine engineering benefits. Motorsport development legitimately advances compound and construction technology that eventually reaches street tires, so dismissing premium brand marketing entirely as pure overhead would be genuinely unfair to the actual research those programs fund. Availability remains the one genuine practical limitation. Not every shop stocks Vredestein. Sizes can be harder to source than mainstream brands, and a tire that performs brilliantly in testing but takes 2 weeks to arrive is genuinely less useful than a competent tire available this afternoon. Online tire retailers narrowed that gap considerably. Ordering directly and having tires shipped to a local installer opens access to brands. Local shops simply don't stock, which makes obscure high-performing brands like Vredestein far more practical today than they were even 5 years ago. The brand traces back over a century. Vredestein has manufactured tires in the Netherlands since 1909, and that century of accumulated engineering experience explains why a company most Americans have never heard of consistently outperforms brands with vastly larger marketing budgets in independent testing. The honest takeaway. Now, I have to complicate this list. Brand rankings describe averages across multiple models, and any brand can build an excellent tire in one category and a mediocre one in another, which means the specific model matters considerably more than the badge on the sidewall. Independent analysts state this specific point directly. A top 5 brand can genuinely build a mediocre tire in a niche category, and mid-pack brands routinely build category-leading products inside their own specialties, which is precisely why shopping by specific model rather than brand reputation produces better outcomes. Reading the specific model review genuinely matters. 2 tires from the identical brand can score dramatically differently in the exact same test, and spending 10 minutes checking the specific model you're considering beats any amount of general brand reputation research you could possibly do instead. Tire size availability constrains real-world choices. The highest rated tire in a category means nothing if it isn't manufactured in your vehicle's specific size, which is why practical shopping starts with what actually fits rather than with what topped a ranking somewhere. The wet braking warning deserves repeating clearly. 2026 European testing conducted jointly by ADXE, Austria's OAMTC, and Switzerland's TCS evaluated tires across 18 individual criteria and flagged multiple budget models for dangerously long wet braking distances, proving that cheap tires genuinely can be unsafe rather than merely mediocre. Linglong specifically got named in that testing. Multiple Linglong models were flagged for dangerously long wet braking distances, with one budget model earning effectively a failing grade, which demonstrates the genuine difference between a value brand backed by testing and a cheap brand backed by nothing at all. Wet braking is where budget tires fail. Dry pavement grip is relatively easy to engineer at low cost, but evacuating water from beneath a contact patch at speed requires genuinely sophisticated tread design and compound chemistry, which is precisely why that specific category separates competent budget tires from dangerous ones. Cost comparisons deserve genuinely honest framing too. The price difference between a premium set and a budget set typically runs a few $100s across 4 tires, while the cost of a single avoidable wet pavement accident runs dramatically higher, which is exactly why safety testing matters more than the sticker price alone. That framing cuts both directions though, honestly. A driver who genuinely cannot afford premium tires and delays replacement entirely faces far greater risk than one who buys competent budget tires today, meaning the safest realistic choice depends on what a household can actually afford right now. Tire age matters independently of tread depth. Rubber degrades over time regardless of mileage, and most manufacturers recommend replacement around 6 to 10 years from the manufacture date printed on the sidewall, which occasionally makes an expensive long-life tire genuinely wasteful for a low-mileage driver. Tread life changes the entire value calculation. A Michelin Defender 2 carrying an 80,000-mile predicted tread life may genuinely cost less per mile than a budget tire lasting 40,000 miles, meaning the cheaper tire isn't automatically the cheaper choice once you divide total cost by actual miles delivered. Actual tread life varies enormously by driver. Consumer Reports notes explicitly that real tread life depends on vehicle type, tire type, driving aggressiveness, and road and weather conditions, meaning a predicted mileage figure describes an average rather than a promise applicable to any individual driver's situation. Annual mileage genuinely determines the right answer. A driver logging 5,000 miles yearly will likely replace tires due to age-related rubber degradation rather than tread wear, which makes paying premium prices for extended tread life a genuinely poor investment for that specific driver's actual situation. Ultra-high performance tires wear faster universally. Independent testing shows performance tires from any brand typically deliver 30 to 40,000 miles regardless of who built them, so buyers choosing grip over longevity should expect that trade-off from every manufacturer rather than blaming a specific budget brand for it. Test results genuinely change every single year. The 2025 leaders were not automatically the 2026 leaders. Product lineup shift, and a recommendation based on testing from 3 years ago may be describing a tire that no longer exists in the same form today. Manufacturers quietly revise products mid-production too. A tire carrying the same model name for 5 years may have received compound updates, tread revisions, or construction changes during that period, meaning older reviews describe a product that has genuinely evolved since those reviews were originally written. Mechanics recommend these brands for practical reasons. Shops see the same tires come back for rotations and replacements repeatedly, which builds genuine institutional knowledge about what actually holds up, and that hands-on pattern recognition frequently identifies value long before consumer awareness catches up. Shops also see genuine failure patterns firsthand. A technician who has mounted thousands of tires notices which brands develop sidewall issues, which wear unevenly, and which simply hold up without complaint, and that accumulated observation genuinely informs recommendations in ways no marketing campaign ever could. Installation quality matters more than buyers realize. Proper mounting, correct balancing, accurate alignment, and appropriate inflation pressure affect tire life and performance substantially, meaning a budget tire installed correctly frequently outperforms a premium tire installed carelessly at a discount shop cutting corners. None of this means avoiding premium brands. Michelin topped Consumer Reports' 2026 rankings with a score of 72. All 8 tested models earned recommendations, and for drivers logging heavy annual mileage in demanding conditions, that premium genuinely buys measurable performance worth paying for. Continental ranked second with 69 points. All 7 tested Continental models earned recommendations, and reviewers particularly praised the brand's truck tires, which stood out even among a lineup where every single product tested well enough to earn a formal recommendation. The Cross Climate 2 deserves a specific mention here. This Michelin all-weather tire provides genuine winter traction without requiring seasonal removal when snow season ends, solving a real problem for drivers in climates with occasional snow who don't want to maintain 2 separate sets of tires. Category leaders differ meaningfully by vehicle type. For passenger cars, the top 3 are Michelin, Continental, and Vredestein, while for trucks and SUVs, the strongest candidates shift toward BF Goodrich, Cooper, Toyo, and General, meaning the right answer genuinely depends on what you actually drive. All-terrain buyers face a separate ranking. BF Goodrich leads that category according to independent analysis, followed by Toyo and Goodyear, while Cooper and General deliver the strongest value, all-terrain performance at meaningfully lower prices than the category leaders command. Highway-focused truck duty favors different brands. Michelin and Continental lead that specific segment, which demonstrates once more that a brand dominating one category can sit mid-pack in another, and shopping by category rather than overall brand ranking produces genuinely better outcomes. The honest recommendation here is genuinely situational. Match the tire to your actual driving, your actual climate, and your actual annual mileage rather than to a price point or a brand reputation. Because a budget tire that fits your real situation beats a premium tire chosen purely because the name sounded safer. Ask your mechanic what they actually run. The people mounting tires all day have genuinely useful opinions formed from watching hundreds of sets wear out, and that question costs nothing while frequently producing better guidance than any ranking published anywhere online. Independent shops often give straighter answers here. A shop without a manufacturer relationship or a sales quota has genuinely less incentive to steer a customer toward one specific brand, which frequently makes their recommendation more useful than one from a location contractually tied to a single tire company. Chain stores frequently run promotions and rebates that genuinely lower the effective price, though, so checking both an independent shop and a national chain before committing is simply good practice for any buyer. The real lesson underneath all 10 brands. Reputation and measured performance drift apart over time. Testing data corrects that drift. And a buyer willing to spend 20 minutes reading actual test results before shopping consistently gets more tire for less money than one shopping purely by familiar name recognition alone. That 20 minutes of research is genuinely the highest return investment available anywhere in the entire car ownership experience, because tires are the only 4 contact patches connecting an entire vehicle to the road underneath it.